Welcome to the course. Let's jump right in. In today's world, mastering your money and achieving your financial goals appear harder than ever. When was the last time you were able to allocate enough money to bulk up your savings, pay down debt, invest for the future, or even plan for retirement? Distractions that rob you from being financially independent are everywhere. You reward yourself with daily happy hours at the neighborhood bar after surviving another depressing day at the office. The latest and greatest smartphone was released, and you have to have it. Your friends are all working in different states or countries, so you travel throughout the year to see them. Perhaps you received a promotion at work and decided to reward yourself with a new car. And it's not always just the fun stuff that derails our finances. Perhaps you have an unexpected trip to the emergency room, or a loved one becomes suddenly ill. Your car breaks down and needs an expensive repair. Your student loan payments have increased, yet you already are struggling to pay them off each month. You bought your dream house, but you can barely afford your mortgage payments. Or you want your child to attend college, yet you're stressed about how to save for the spiraling tuition costs. We're all guilty of spending money on things that we don't need, aren't a priority, and don't reflect our values. We find ourselves saying, "I don't make enough money to save. I'll save money when I get my next paycheck." Or, "I'll spend less next week." Yet, we continue to live beyond our means day in and day out, week after week, month after month, and even year after year. This is the recipe to find yourself working well past retirement age with financial freedom nowhere in sight. Given all of the hurdles we have to jump over in our attempts to achieve financial independence, it is understandable why personal finance and retirement planning are one of the hottest categories in online education platforms and online book retailers. Everyone's financial situation is different and continuously evolving, so it is extremely unlikely that one course alone will provide you with all of the answers. There is a course, however, that will put you on the right financial track in a way that is realistic for you. I've created this course to enable you to take back control of your finances and earn more money while resolving your daily questions and concerns about personal finance and retirement planning. It is created in a straightforward manner so that you can start implementing immediately what you learn. This course is for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, have little to no savings, are drowning in debt, and are afraid they will be working in a cubicle for the rest of their lives. If you feel your money, or lack of it, is controlling you and your life, this course is absolutely for you. I graduated college with $50,000 in debt and was faced with the ugly prospect of spending my professional career working for someone else in a cubicle until I was 65. In my mid-20s, I realized I was not living the life I envisioned for myself. I was not a master of my life, but a slave to my debt. I settled for going through the motions of life because there appeared to be no way out of the rat race. Monday through Friday, I was told what time I had to get up, what time to be in the office, what I was to do for the next 8 hours of my day, and even how much time I had to eat lunch, all in return for a paycheck that would let me pay my bills. For me to take back control of my life, I had to get my finances in order and master my money. I read dozens of books and hundreds of blog articles on personal finance, investing, and retirement planning. The actions I took have allowed me to murder my debt and put me on a track to retire early, allowing me to soon live my life completely on my own terms. It is my responsibility to pay it forward and help you master your money and achieve your financial goals so that you too can live your life by your own rules. This course cuts through all the noise and nonsense that is out there on personal finance and retirement planning, and instead provides you with the essentials to take action immediately and effectively. It is also based upon my #1 bestseller, Master Your Money, Stop Yearning, Start Earning, which is available on Amazon, Audible, CreateSpace, and iTunes. And this can be accessed via the link on the slide you see currently. Let me share some proof that what I'm about to teach you works. Joseph had no savings and $20,000 in debt back in 2010. By 2014, he eliminated his debt and accumulated $4,000 in savings, even after switching careers and accepting an $18,000 pay cut. Kevin had $70,000 in debt and 0 investments back in 2009. By 2014, he destroyed his debt completely, grew his investments to $50,000, and is now on track to save for a 20% house down payment. By following the guidance of this course, you will be able to save more of your income, eliminate your debt, and become a savvy investor. These are all the necessary ingredients to mastering your money, achieving financial independence, and allowing you to retire at the age of your choosing. Furthermore, you will be able to transform not only your financial situation, but many facets of your life, especially your mindset, by taking the actions laid out in this course. To help you become a master of your money and your life, I would like to share a piece of advice with you. Remind yourself often of what I'm about to share while you're on this journey to mastering your money and becoming financially independent. It is what separates those who are successful and those who fail. Time after time, many people fail by not following this advice, but the very few who do always succeed. What is this key piece of wisdom? Take action quickly. It is that simple, yet very powerful. When it comes to personal finance and retirement planning, time is your best friend. Those who wait forfeit the benefits that are reaped by those who took immediate action. How many opportunities have you missed out on because you chose not to act? Stop sabotaging yourself. Ask yourself, how badly do you want to take back control of your life and live it on your own terms? Be the person that defies the odds and inspires others to do the same. If you have already mastered your money, achieved financial independence, and are retired living the good life, this course is not for you. For the rest of us, we have work to do, so let's make it happen. The insight you are about to receive has been proven to deliver life-changing results. All you have to do is consistently follow the lessons of this course and take action. Take the first step towards mastering your money and achieving financial independence right now by starting the next module of the course. You will be amazed at the new life you are creating for yourself. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comments section along with your questions. I value and appreciate your review. Please take a moment to leave an initial review for the course. Your feedback is powerful as it influences others to enroll in the class. Remember, your review doesn't have to be perfect. I'd like to thank you in advance for taking 30 seconds of your time to write a review. To master your money successfully, it is important to develop the right financial mindset. In this section, you will learn how the everyday person is chained to his or her wages and how our consumer culture keeps us shackled to the job market. We will also discuss the conventional life cycle of the ordinary person. You will then discover what it takes to break free from the system and what the initial steps are towards becoming financially free. Imagine a cave where people have been imprisoned from childhood. These prisoners are chained so that their legs and necks are fixed, forcing them to gaze at the wall in front of them and not look around at the cave, each other, or themselves. Behind the prisoners is a fire, and between the fire and the prisoners is a raised walkway with a low wall behind which people walk carrying objects. The people walk behind the wall so their bodies do not cast shadows for the prisoners to see, but only the objects they carry. The prisoners cannot see any of this behind them and are only able to see the shadows cast upon the cave wall in front of them. The sounds of the people talking echo off the shadowed wall, and the prisoners falsely believe these sounds come from the shadows. The shadows constitute reality for the prisoners because they have never seen anything else. They do not realize that what they see are shadows of objects in front of a fire. Now suppose one prisoner is freed, being forced to turn and see the fire. The light would hurt his eyes and make it hard for him to see the objects that are casting the shadows. If he is told that what he saw before was not real, but that the objects he is now struggling to see are real, he would not believe it. Now suppose this prisoner is dragged out of the cave into the real world. He would be blinded by the sun and unable to comprehend the new reality he is experiencing at first. Slowly, his eyes adjust to the light of the sun. Over time, the freed prisoner begins to understand the new world around him. Now, the freed prisoner would think that the real world was superior to the world he experienced in the cave and would want to bring his fellow cave dwellers out of the cave and into the sunlight. The enlightened prisoner returns to the darkness of the cave, feeling a responsibility to educate the remaining prisoners of the system in place. He explains how the shadows work, but is rejected by the others because it is the only world and truth they know and derive benefit. The enlightened prisoner describes what was seen in the light of the real world, only to be humiliated by the others for struggling to see throughout the darkness of the cave. No longer could the enlightened prisoner take part in the conversations and games that are based on the shadows of the wall. No longer was the enlightened prisoner one of them. Even so, the enlightened prisoner feels obligated to free the remaining prisoners so they too can experience the real truth. The prisoners resist being freed, afraid of what may happen to them, like their sight changing or no longer fitting in among everyone. The effort required by the remaining prisoners to break free from their shackles, learn a new world, and establish a new sense of self is too great for them to bear. Why change their lives or question the system if they are content with how things currently are? They've been living their lives this way for years. Why even bother? We grow up chained to the belief that there is only one way to live. We are shipped off to elementary school, followed by middle school and high school. We go to college because we are told it will enable us to get a stable, well-paying job. The money earned from this well-paying job will allow us to finance a fancy car. You eventually get married because that's what you're supposed to do. You throw an extravagant wedding so that you can entertain all your family and friends. Now that you're married, you purchase your dream house. You start having children, and then you get a second car to serve as the family car. As your children grow, you teach them the way of the system in which you grew up. While paying for all your children's stuff and education, in addition to your toys and your significant other's interests, you work until you are 65. After working for 40 years, you are lucky enough to retire and look forward to living your life on your own terms for the next 10 to 15 years. Then, you die. When we enter the job market, we quickly become chained by our wages and to the thought that there is only one way to make a living, and that is exchanging your time for money. We do this for 5 days of the week and reward ourselves by spending what we earned on things that make us happy. Our lifestyles become dependent upon our wages. We live paycheck by paycheck. If we want a better lifestyle, we exchange even more of our time for more money. We become so focused on making a living for that dream lifestyle, but we don't even spend the time living it, let alone enjoying it. In the back of our minds, we fear losing our jobs because we will no longer be able to afford the lifestyle we created for ourselves. For most of us, we can never imagine setting ourselves free from the job market. We only see the job market as our primary source of income, yet we never ponder other legal alternatives for making a living. We can't even imagine earning a living that doesn't require the exchange of our time. From our earnings or lack thereof, we create a lifestyle based on what we can buy and show off to society rather than our values and character. We believe in the illusions that people are rich and happy based on what we see, like a large house with a pool, especially in a suburban neighborhood, or a fancy new car. What people don't see is that a good percentage of them are drowning in debt. Most of what they own is bought on credit. They only pay the minimum on their credit card bills. For some, they first buy the things they want and barely have enough left over to buy the things they actually need to survive. Because they are in debt up to their eyeballs, they work a ton of hours to try and stay afloat. They are a slave to their debt. The only end in sight they have for themselves is being freed at the age of 65, if they are lucky to retire then. We also believe in the illusions that people are poor and unhappy because perhaps they send their children to public school, they drive an old car or decide to bike to work, they use coupons and scan their receipts, or perhaps they live in a small house or an apartment. What people don't see is that the ones who appear to be, quote, poor and unhappy, unquote, are masters of their money. They're not bound to debt. They live off of a reasonable percentage of their earnings while saving and investing the majority of their paycheck. They can quit their jobs whenever they want and travel for an extended period of time because they have enough savings set aside. They are able to live life on their own terms because they have their finances in order and live within their means. Which life do you want to live? A free and abundant life, or a life where you're shackled and imprisoned? In Plato's cave, the system is maintained by the prisoners. They don't question what they see. They go along with everything, believing what the system tells them as absolute truth. They continue imprisoning themselves because that's what the other prisoners are doing. It's easy to fit in by going along with everyone else. In reality, we continue to imprison ourselves by submitting ourselves to our consumer culture. What do we do to reward ourselves? Well, we buy something. What do we do to celebrate an occasion? We make a fancy reservation. What do we do when we are too lazy to do something ourselves? Usually, we pay someone else to do it. Now, what do we do when we don't want to do something by hand? Typically, we buy a machine or tool to do it for us. And what do we do when we want something but don't have the money to buy it? We buy it anyway with a credit card or loan. Rather than figuring out in the present how to make a purchase responsibly, we decide to figure it out later. We buy things emotionally and later use logic to justify the purchase. Consequently, we become more bounded to debt because we've exchanged more of our time to pay off the additional debt we have accumulated. Why is it that we must buy something or pay money to fulfill the daily moments in our lives? Let's look at those questions again. How else could you reward yourself, or celebrate an occasion, or complete the task you were too lazy to do? How else could you complete the tasks you need to do by hand? Or how else could you buy something you want, but don't have the money currently to buy it? Share your creative answers with the Udemy community by posting your responses in the comments. I would love to see what you all come up with. Now, many of you may be wondering, what's required to leave the cave? To break out of this broken system, you must ignore the naysayers. People will criticize you and tell you that you can't achieve your goal because they themselves have failed. They do not know how to do it themselves. They don't have the creativity, imagination, and willpower like you do to succeed. You must lead your life by defining your own life rules. Design your own map of your life and determine how you will navigate it. You must hold yourself accountable and responsible for how you live your life, how you take care of yourself, how you spend your time, and with whom you surround yourself. You must reprogram your mindset. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Your old way of thinking is what got you to where you are today. To propel yourself to a new level in life, you must change your mindset and eliminate the mental chains that are holding you back. You have to stop sabotaging yourself and take action today. To really leave the cave, you need to define your purpose for living. Think about it. Why are you on this earth? Why are you still on this earth? What mark do you want to leave on the world? And what motivates you to get out of bed every morning? There's never the perfect time to take action. The right time is right now. You don't have to be awesome to start, but you must start to be awesome. How badly do you want it? For a majority of you taking this course, you don't want it badly enough. Let me repeat that. You don't want it badly enough. Let's have an honest conversation with each other. Where you are in life is based on your choices. You're not a master of your money because you don't want to be. You've chosen the financial situation in which you currently are. You're not living life on your own terms because you have chosen not to do so. You're not financially independent because you have chosen not to be. You are only as successful as you choose to be. Why are you not as financially successful as you could be? You don't want it badly enough. There are several reasons that can explain why you don't want it badly enough. For one, you really don't care. When challenges arise, you quickly give up. You continuously question yourself. You don't hold yourself responsible and accountable for your actions. Or you're okay with the fact that your life isn't going in the direction you desired. You're too afraid to step up to the plate and make a change. You constantly look to others to solve your problems. Or you blame others when things don't work out rather than yourself. This one takes the cake. Other people want it more for you than you do for yourself. Nothing can be done or will change until you want it as badly for yourself. What does it look like when you do want it badly enough? Your desire for success is greater than your fear of failure. More progress is made toward your goals because you're taking the necessary actions. When you are 100% committed, you do not encounter the same problems as those who don't want it badly enough. When challenges arise, you conquer them. Most importantly, your actions reflect your values. How do you know if you're walking the walk as much as you talk the talk? Here's how you can gauge whether you do indeed want it badly enough. Let's reflect on your previous week. You know what needed to get done, and you know what actions you had to take. Well, did you do it? Did you meet your goals? How did you measure up? If you fell short, you're not as committed as you say you are. Were your goals reasonable and realistic enough for you to achieve, especially in the time frame that you gave yourself? Or did you set yourself up for failure? Reflect on your why. That is, why you're doing all of this in the first place. What success were you trying to achieve given the goals you had in place? What is it that you really value? When you do want it badly enough for yourself and are 100% committed to your why, you will be able to master your money, achieve financial independence, retire early, and live life completely on your own terms. Knowing now what you need to do, how do you do it? First, you have to get your mind right. In the next module, you will develop the right mindset that will help you achieve financial independence so that you can retire early and start living life on your own terms. In this module, you learned how the everyday person is chained to his or her wages and imprisoned by the system of consumerism. We also discussed the conventional life cycle of the ordinary person. You now know, however, what it takes to break free and what the initial steps are to becoming financially free and extraordinary. In the next module, we're going to discuss your mindset and how to get your mind right for financial success and the one thing you need to know to master your money. Here's an action to take in order to start implementing what you learned thus far, and that is establish your why statement. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comments section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken and your results thus far. In this section, we will discuss your financial mindset to move you rapidly from yearning to earning. You will learn the one thing you need to know in order to master your money and the fastest path to mastering it. We will also reveal the significance of having your own 20-mile march and getting an accountability partner. We will also cover your personal mindset, the roller coaster you'll be riding throughout your financial journey, and the 4 levels of learning you will be traversing. To rapidly move from yearning to earning, you have to get your mind right. You must become a master of your wages, rather than a wage slave. As a wage slave, you experience a lot of uncertainty where you're living paycheck to paycheck. You worry about how long you will be able to keep your job, always preoccupied about where your money is going to come from next and how you're going to pay your bills. You never ask questions about how you could improve your financial situation, perhaps afraid of looking stupid, so you take no action at all as a result. Or you may ask questions, but you continuously ask the wrong questions, such as, how can I increase my odds of winning the lottery? Or, what's the one stock I should invest in so that I can hit it rich? Wage slaves are pawns in the time economy. They follow orders, being told what to do, when to wake up, how many hours they are expected to work, and how much they can earn. They spend their time fulfilling someone else's goal, sacrificing their very own dreams in exchange for money. Their income is strictly based on the time they provide to their boss. Consequently, their financial future is in the hands of their employer. Wage masters, on the other hand, are in full control of their financial destiny. They ask the right questions when they do not know the answers, regardless of how they may look. They research the answers and reflect on them. They also quickly and repeatedly take action, implementing what they've learned in order to move themselves closer to their financial goals. They frequently take the initiative to improve their financial situation because they understand that they are solely responsible for their financial future. Wage masters live a life of certainty and abundance. Their time is spent pursuing their own goals. They also sleep at night because their finances are in order while their money is working for them, generating even more money. They are a member of the value economy, where their income is based on the value they provide to society, not their time. For example, wage masters may add value by creating businesses. Are you currently a wage slave or a wage master? Which would you rather be? If there's one thing you take away from this course, which is essential to mastering your money, achieving financial independence, and retiring early, is this: you already have what it takes to master your money. If you believe in yourself that you already have what it takes to master your money, you are more than on your way to becoming a wage master. So what is the fastest path to mastering your money? You need to take actions that move you toward your financial goals each day. Unfortunately, we have developed the habits to procrastinate high-value activities where we find ourselves doing low-value activities first because they are easy and entertaining. What are these low-value activities? Here's a short list: checking Facebook, watching cat videos on YouTube, checking email repeatedly, and texting about how you hate that it's Monday, taking selfies, posting those selfies to Instagram, and then tweeting about the selfies that you just posted to Instagram, watching live streams on Twitch, and complaining. We're all guilty of doing these things, and this is not even a comprehensive list of the low-value activities that we have deemed okay with which to fill our lives. Which of these activities move us closer to achieving our financial goals? When we participate in low-value activities, we have lost sight of our goals. Keep your eye on the prize and do high-value activities first, which are those that move you closer to your goal. So how do you regain focus when you find yourself procrastinating or slipping into low-value activities? Remind yourself of your why statement. Do this each morning, throughout the day, and before going to bed. Incorporate reminders of the goal you're trying to achieve throughout your environment, like an image, quote, or a handwritten note, to constantly remind yourself of what you're working towards and why. By taking daily action over time, you will master your money much more quickly than you think. In their book Great by Choice, Jim Collins and Morton Hansen introduced the 20-mile march principle, where they advocate taking consistent action each day to more effectively accomplish a goal, rather than doing a lot one day and then very little the next day. This rings true when it comes to your financial goals. It takes more time and energy to procrastinate than what is required to complete the task at hand. Take consistent and focused action each day to work towards your financial goal. Dedicate a particular time each day to commit to achieving your financial independence. It doesn't matter if you're a morning person or a night owl. Pick at least a half hour of time to invest in yourself. Here's a short list of ways to invest in yourself, whether that involves attending a financial meetup group, reading a chapter on personal finance, even listening to a personal finance podcast. Perhaps you like to read a financial blog article or researching the answer to a financial question you have. Try speaking with a financial advisor and going over your finances. You can even take a simple action of creating a budget. But at the end of the day, just do something. Most importantly, get out of bed. I suffer from this as well. Look, I love sleep, especially when I'm in a crisis of meaning, more on that later, or depressed or frustrated that things are not working out as expected. I like staying in bed when I feel that I'm behind on my goals, and especially when I don't achieve my goals. You may find that you don't want to get out of bed because you don't like your job, you want to avoid certain people, or you have no motivation at all to do anything, and I'm sure the covers are so warm and soft. In bed, you are safe and sound, but it can also keep you chained to your current situation. You know what the best remedy is when you're in that state? Getting out of bed and taking action. To rapidly master your money, find yourself a buddy or an accountability partner. Your financial journey will be a roller coaster of many highs and many lows. We think we can do it all ourselves. However, you will learn more, get more done, and achieve your goals more quickly when you have someone to hold you accountable. If you solely hold yourself accountable, it's very easy for you to cut yourself some slack and to make excuses why you didn't take action. It would be very easy to give up, which is ultimately what people do. By having an accountability partner, they will be able to motivate you when you're down. They can help get you unstuck by providing additional guidance, other options, or simply a different perspective on the matter. Your partner can help you face the true reason behind the things you are procrastinating or avoiding. Bouncing ideas off of someone or having them serve as a sounding board will allow you to determine your next course of action. Sometimes, all you need to do is talk it out. Not only that, you will find that you are not the only one going through your financial situation. Moreover, it's always awesome to reach a goal and to have someone be proud of you. Your accountability partner is essential to quickly master your money. As you establish your financial mindset, it is also critical for you to shape your personal mindset. While mastering your money, you will be riding your financial roller coaster daily, where you will experience different degrees of positive and negative emotions. As your financial situation improves and evolves, you will encounter 5 different stages throughout your journey. If you are aware of the emotional cycle of change model that was developed by Don Kelly and Daryl Connor, or the entrepreneur transition curve described by Cameron Herold, these stages will seem familiar to you. The first stage is uninformed optimism. During this phase, you are excited to take on a new adventure. In this case, making money to achieve financial independence with the goal of retiring early at the age of your choosing. You're ready to hustle and anticipate that all that you will learn and do. This stage is similar to the bubbly and excited feelings you get when you meet someone new and you start dating, or even the honeymoon stage after getting married. When the honeymoon ends, you transition into the phase of informed pessimism. Imagine walking to the base of the mountain you're about to climb. You look up and realize how far away the top of the mountain really is. You discover how much work it's going to take to reach the top. Along the way, you may encounter challenges, moments of resistance, or even setbacks. Perhaps things didn't go according to plan and haven't worked out as you imagined. You realize that what you set out to do was harder than you thought. You become somewhat more pessimistic, questioning everything you're doing, including yourself. Then you enter into the stage called crisis of meaning. This is when you experience your darkest hours. There will be many dark moments along your journey where not only do you question what you're doing, but why. Nothing makes sense anymore, and it's hard to have any clarity of what you should do or in which direction to go. You feel like the world is against you and there's nothing you can do to change your situation. You feel helpless and depressed, perhaps even scared. At this point, you have reached a fork in the road. You either crash and burn, where you simply give up. You give up on your dream and on yourself. Or, if you ride it out, convincing yourself that you're going to get through the crisis you are experiencing, you then ascend into the stage of informed optimism. It takes a lot of energy and effort to pull through your lowest lows in order to rise above and achieve informed optimism. Over time, you may realize that things aren't as bad as they seemed. You begin putting together realistic plans that move you toward your goals with an informed sense of optimism. Positive energy begins to flow back in, and you emerge from the darkness into the light, reassured that your goal is still possible. You then repeat these 5 stages with informed optimism, leading you back into uninformed optimism as you once again take on new adventures and learn new things. As your financial situation improves and evolves, you will encounter 4 different levels of learning throughout your journey. These levels are based on the theory of learning any new skill, and it was originally developed by Noel Birch at the Gordon Training International. Given our uninformed optimism, we have a lot of fun in the beginning because we're curious and excited about what we're about to learn. At this level of learning, we experience unconscious incompetence because we don't know what we don't know yet. This is where we all start when learning something new. Shortly thereafter, you have a moment where you say to yourself, like, holy crap. You realize how much stuff there is to learn and how much there is to do, that you have no idea where to begin or where to go next. You admit to yourself that you have no clue what you're doing. You're now at the level of conscious incompetence. As you progress through your learning, you understand the basics of what you're doing. You've been taking consistent action, implementing what you're learning, and things start to turn around. You notice that you're having some fun again, and at this point, you have therefore graduated to the level of conscious competence. Over time, you master what you're learning, to a degree, where you no longer have to think about what you're doing. You just do it. Your actions become second nature to you, and you're now experiencing unconscious competence. In this section, we discussed your financial mindset to move you rapidly from yearning to earning. You learned the one thing you need to know in order to master your money and the fastest path to mastering it. I can't emphasize enough the importance of establishing your own 20-mile march and getting an accountability partner. We also covered your personal mindset, the roller coaster you'll be riding throughout your financial journey, and the 4 levels of learning you will be traversing. Now, you're ready to learn the key differences between money masters and money yearners. In the next section, you will also learn how your identity is sabotaging you and what you can do to stop it. Here's some actions to take to implement what you've learned. Establish your 20-mile march. Get an accountability partner. Identify at which point of the financial roller coaster you are currently, and also identify at which level of learning you are currently. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comment section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken and your results thus far. Also, as you know, I value and appreciate your review. Please take a moment to leave an initial review for the course. Your feedback is powerful as it influences others to enroll in the class. And remember, your review doesn't have to be perfect. And again, I'd like to thank you in advance for taking 30 seconds of your time to write a review. In this section, we're going to look at money masters versus money yearners. You will learn the attributes that make money masters successful and which other attributes leave you in a state of yearning. We will discuss the dark side of being a money master and the importance of developing your emotional intelligence in parallel with your financial intelligence. Most importantly, you will discover how your identity is sabotaging you, what you can do to stop it from doing so, and how to establish an empowering identity. There are several qualities that will help you become a successful money master as you navigate the different stages of the financial roller coaster and the different levels of learning. Whether you're at the peak of the roller coaster, its valley, or somewhere in between, finding the things that keep you excited and enthusiastic about your financial journey is essential. Establish your why and record it so that you can refer to it often. This will help sustain your excitement and enthusiasm. It is easy to become overwhelmed by the amount of information that is available. Sometimes you may experience analysis paralysis. It is important to learn the information that is immediately applicable to you and then take immediate action. Focus on what really matters. If it's not relevant to you at this exact moment in time, then don't worry about it. Otherwise, you won't be as effective as you could because you've taken on too much. Why should you immediately apply what you learn? You will produce results more quickly, which will allow you to reflect on what is or is not working. It'll force you to ask the necessary questions and then research the answers to them. You will immediately see the progress that you are making and the amount of learning you have achieved. You will also become more emotionally aware of yourself as you implement new tactics and techniques. Struggling and failing early on will motivate you to reach out for help sooner rather than later. By learning and adapting on the go, you will enable yourself to master your money more rapidly and successfully. As you develop these daily qualities and habits, remember to keep your eyes on the prize. Don't lose sight of your long-term goals when temporary financial setbacks occur. Money earners are those who are controlled by their money rather than masters of it. They remain in a state of fear, worry, doubt, and nervousness about money, which hinders them from taking action or making a change. They go through the financial motions of life with no purpose or reason. They may take the time to learn something new that would change their financial situation, but they don't follow through with the necessary actions to make that change a reality. They make excuses or even procrastinate. Consequently, the results fall short of what they were dreaming or hoping. They immediately classify themselves as a failure and more than likely will never try again to improve their financial situation. Because of this, they neglect to reflect on their experience, what they could have done differently, or even what information they may have overlooked. They remain stuck and think they can do nothing about it. They fall back into their negative financial habits, which then keeps them from progressing towards their financial goals. But you know what? You are better than that. As you pursue financial independence, you will experience several positive emotions, but also a variety of negative emotions. The negative emotions may arise when you encounter a challenge, a setback, or the judgments of others who don't understand or agree with your new outlook and behavior. Depending upon which phase of the roller coaster you're riding at the time, some of these negative emotions may surface more than others. You may find that within your current social circle, you start to feel lonely. There will be days when you feel the need to connect with others who understand what you're going through on your new financial journey. However, you may realize that person you're looking for does not exist within your social circle. You may also experience this with your family at times. You may discover a new lack of interest in the activities or even the conversations within your original social circle because either they no longer seem relevant to you or conflict with your new mindset or goals. Consequently, you become somewhat more reserved or withdrawn, which increases your degree of loneliness. Who do you turn to then? Turn to your accountability partner. That's why your partner is there. Research local community groups or meetups where people with similar financial interests and ambitions, and then, reach out to them. Throughout the stages of informed pessimism, you may feel inadequate, realizing how much you don't know. Perhaps you feel unskilled or don't have the ability or discipline to achieve the task before you. Turn this feeling of inadequacy into motivation for you to improve your skills and knowledge. When was the last time you were disappointed? As you pursue each of your financial goals, you may realize that it's not achievable or the outcome was not what you had expected. You will become disappointed. This disappointment may cause you to begin questioning or doubting yourself and what you're doing. Recognize the feeling and quickly turn it around. For example, reflect on what you did learn or achieve throughout the process. Consider what you could have done differently to change the outcome. And remember, your setbacks only prepare you for your comebacks. Sometimes your disappointment will lead you down a path toward anger. Perhaps you have established a financial rule for yourself or loved one. Guess what happens next? You or your loved one breaks the rule. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe multiple times. It's understandable why you would become angry. However, this anger only adds resistance to your progress. Give yourself 1 minute, seriously, 60 seconds, to acknowledge what happened and how it made you feel. Then, quickly turn the situation around by reflecting on the root cause of the problem at hand. Perhaps the rule was too strict, or you thought you were ready to obey the rule, but realized you're not in the position to do so. Start with baby steps to achieve small wins before you take large leaps that result in big losses. Similar to anger, you may feel hurt when your financial expectations are not met by yourself or loved ones. For example, you go out for dinner expecting to stay within your budget. Then, the waiter brings the check. Surprise, surprise! Or you have set the expectation that you would only buy things that you needed and would use on a regular basis. How quickly does that expectation go out the window? Sometimes unexpected expenses come up, distracting you from meeting your other financial obligations. You feel a sense of loss when you whip out your wallet to pay for these gremlin expenses. When you feel this way, reflect on how reasonable your expectations are and how you can get back on track. Make adjustments where necessary, and think of safeguards you can put in place to help minimize the financial impact that may occur when your financial expectations are not met in the future. Trust me, if it happened once, more than likely it'll happen again. Whenever you start out on a new adventure, it is natural to experience fear. Throughout your journey, you will often have to face the causes of your financial situation and habits. They will be hard to discuss and admit. At times, it will be painful, which is why it's easy to let fear take hold of the steering wheel and drive you away from doing so. Face your fears. The sooner you do so and have an honest conversation with yourself, the sooner you will have a breakthrough and see the change you desire. Avoiding the issue at hand usually takes more time and energy than it does to resolve it. Imagine who you will become and what you will be able to achieve by conquering your fears today. As you work toward your financial goals, your level of frustration will fluctuate. When you're feeling frustrated, it's an indication that you need to change how you're approaching your goal. The bigger your frustration, the more you need to reflect on what you're doing. Have you ever bought something you later regretted? Perhaps in the moment you felt you needed it, but later realized you didn't need it at all? Have you ever felt guilty making a purchase? Perhaps you gave into a temptation, or maybe you saw a 24-hour sale that you couldn't resist. When you walk throughout your house or apartment, how many things do you see that you haven't used or worn in a while? Regret or guilt will often arise, indicating that you've gone against your own virtues. Reflect on what you value and reevaluate how realistically to make your financial behavior and habits more in line with your virtues. By doing so, you will feel a greater sense of purpose than guilt or regret. Throughout your journey, your financial situation will continuously evolve. Your priorities will change, as well as your preferences. You may find yourself overwhelmed by these changes and unsure of what you should focus or do next. When things start to become unclear, write out your financial priorities and reflect on their importance. Order them from the most important to the least. Address the top priority first, and then once that priority has been fulfilled, address the second priority, and so on. When it comes to mastering your money and achieving financial independence, your emotional intelligence matters as much as your financial intelligence. Emotional intelligence, often abbreviated as EQ, is the ability to identify, use, understand, and manage emotions in positive ways. It affects our everyday life, especially the way we financially behave and interact with others. By increasing your EQ, you will be able to more effectively recognize your emotional state and that of others. Through understanding your emotions, you'll be able to make better financial decisions. Emotional intelligence consists of 4 components. The first is self-awareness, which is the recognition of our own emotions and their effect on our thoughts and behavior. How do your emotions affect your financial thoughts and behaviors? The second component is self-management, which involves the control of impulsive feelings and behaviors, as well as the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. How well do you handle impulsive or spontaneous spending? How well do you adapt to situations that affect your finances? The third component is social awareness, and this involves the understanding of the emotional needs and concerns of others. How often do you use money to change the emotional state of someone else? How often do you give money to solve someone's problems? And the last component is relationship management. This is the ability to develop and maintain healthy relationships with others, as well as the ability to communicate effectively with others. How healthy are your financial relationships? How would you describe your financial communications with your loved ones? Peter Shallard, a psychology expert and therapist, provides 7 steps on how we can improve our emotional intelligence by reframing our emotions. These steps will help you meet your financial expectations and move you closer toward your financial goals. The first step is to identify the signal. What is it that you're actually feeling? For example, feeling bad isn't enough. Work out the name for the emotion you feel when you make a financial decision. And second, appreciate the message. Acknowledge that you're feeling this negative emotion when you made that financial decision, and recognize the call to action. The third step to reframing your emotions is changing your state, and this is very important. You need to do whatever it takes to temporarily get out of your negative state and move into a positive one. For example, doing something that will get you out of your funk. By doing this, you'll be able to turn your emotional pain into financial gain. The fourth step is to reflect on how to turn your desired feelings into reality. Get curious about how you want to feel and how to make that happen. For example, ask yourself, how do you actually want to feel? What would it take for you to have that feeling? What would you have to believe in order to feel that way? And then lastly, what can you learn from what you're going through? The fifth step is to become confident. Reassure yourself by remembering other times that you've gotten over this negative emotion when you've made that financial decision. The sixth step to reframing your emotions is to be certain. Imagine ways you could deal with that negative emotion. Rehearse ways of expressing it so that you're certain you know what to do when that negative emotion arises again. And then lastly, take action. Nothing is more important than this last step. Most of the time, our emotions drive our financial decisions, and only afterward do we use logic to justify the decision made. Ideally, we want to spend our money logically, which would result in receiving an emotional reward. By following the steps suggested by Shallard, we can master our emotions to behave more logically with our finances in the future. How do you identify yourself? Your identity can prevent you from mastering your money, or it can enable you to become a money master. Before we dive into this, I want you to ponder the following. I want you to imagine being a pack-a-day smoker. I want you to step into this identity. I want you to try and feel how much harder it is to breathe. Imagine the damaging and blackening of your lungs. I want you to feel the urge to take a smoke break at work every 15 minutes. Feel the anxiety when you couldn't have your smoke break because of a meeting. Now imagine smoking because you're bored or you can't relax. Your smoking habit would limit the type of activities you could do and the extent in which you could enjoy them. Perhaps you could do this from time to time, but what if this was your life every day? Imagine your friends who smoke. They would do anything to give up the habit of smoking, but year after year, they continue to struggle to drop the habit. What have you struggled with before? Remember those New Year's resolutions you began, but gave up on them by the end of the month? It's beach season and you hit the gym, but quickly quit because you tell yourself it's too hard to stay in shape. It is natural to reject anything that makes you uncomfortable. Why try if you're only going to end up being disappointed? No doubt about it, change is difficult. It's hard because we go about doing it ineffectively, not because it is impossible. We start changing from the outside in, first by changing our actions. Our actions, however, are only temporary because they do not reflect what our subconscious truly desires. Our subconscious doesn't care if we have all the money in the world or if we're on top of the world. Our subconscious is focused on doing what is necessary to survive. It will continue doing what you did yesterday and the day before because it allowed you to see another day. Any changes to that routine will be resisted and disregarded. How powerful is your subconscious? It makes decisions for us before we even decide to act for ourselves. Ever reach for your smartphone without thinking about it or consciously choosing to do so? Ever catch yourself saying, I don't even know why I'm looking at my smartphone right now? Or, what was I supposed to be looking at again? We go through the day on autopilot because we're tuned to what our subconscious knows will result in our survival. Not only physically, but also our identity. To the subconscious, change is a threat to our survival. It continues to play out the patterns that are familiar because the subconscious knows it will keep us alive. Therefore, it is natural for us to resist change, which is considered potentially harmful. In order to become financially independent, so that you can retire early and live life on your own terms, it will require you to make some honest changes in your life. This will freak out your subconscious. You will encounter so many unknowns that your subconscious will quickly retreat to your old identity of living a comfortable and complacent lifestyle, even though you are miserable or not satisfied living it. Again, your subconscious does not care. You have survived this long by doing it, and your subconscious will want to do it again tomorrow and the day after that. So how do you actually change yourself successfully? You need to change your identity, which will result in your subconscious believing in a new normal and a new you. You have to first change inside out, not outside in. This is vital to mastering your money. Let's go back to the pack-a-day smoker. How would he identify himself? Because he can't kick the habit, he thinks he's a failure. He thinks he's never going to overcome his addiction. It's just not in the cards for him. Even if he wakes up in the morning vowing, today's a new day and I'm not going to smoke, subconsciously, he will smoke a cigarette at some point in the day. He does it because he identifies as a smoker, and his subconscious will take actions that reflect his identity. What new identity could he take on that would embody the new behaviors that he wants? Someone who typically doesn't smoke, has healthy lungs, and is calm and focused. Perhaps the identity of a runner. If he were to believe he was a runner, what would a runner do? Run, of course. Does a runner smoke? On average, no. The health of their lungs is as vital as their legs. It is what helps them cross the finish line. He wouldn't have to run far before he starts experiencing the positive changes of his new self. All he needs to do is run a little further each day, relying on his 20-mile march to make progress toward embodying his new identity and ultimately kicking the habit of smoking. By choosing a different identity, you will have different thoughts and different actions. Consequently, you will achieve different results. This is necessary to mastering your money rapidly. How can you do this then? First, you have to realize the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. What are your negative thoughts that are preventing you from achieving financial independence? Be honest with yourself. Some common limiting beliefs are, I'll never be rich, or I'll never make enough money to pay off my student loans. Others may say, my employer won't promote me, so I can't increase my take-home pay, or I grew up poor and will always be poor like my parents and grandparents. Another one that I hear is, I never went to college, so I'm not smart enough to make a lot of money. Other statements include, the rich are uppity and elitist. I never want to be like that. And lastly, more money, more problems. I don't need more drama in my life. What are the thoughts that are sabotaging your financial success? What are the things that you are telling yourself that you believe to be true? For each limiting belief you identified, I want you to challenge it. Is this belief absolutely true? Is there one person in the world who could disprove this belief? More than likely, it is not an absolute truth, but a belief that you were taught or learned throughout your life. You were exposed to this limiting belief often enough that you absorbed it as the truth. How do you feel when you have this thought? How would you feel without this thought or opinion? And who would you become without this limiting belief? Now, take each limiting belief and write a corresponding empowering belief. For example, I'll never be rich becomes, I will earn more money on top of the money I already have. I'm stupid and everything I do is wrong becomes, I'm smart and I can do anything. Write them in words in which you would believe. By reversing your limiting beliefs with positive and empowering statements, you are creating the necessary mindset of a money master. Finally, you will inject this new identity into your subconscious and upgrade it. Here's how you do that. Clear your mind, take a deep breath, and declare your new identity aloud. When you do this, I want you to envision it. I want you to feel and sense it, as well as embrace the new emotions that come with it. Remember a time when this was true in the past and in the present. Imagine it being true in the future. How does this new identity make you feel? Who do you imagine becoming, or what do you imagine achieving with this new identity? This process will present your subconscious with a new option it didn't have before. The subconscious will recognize your new identity as an existing choice rather than as a disruptive, fearful change. To make this a new normal for your subconscious, you're going to declare your new identity when you wake up and before you go to sleep. By bookending your day with your declaration, you will more effectively reprogram your subconscious, your thoughts, and actions that will lead to financial success. In this section, you learn the attributes that make money masters successful and which attributes leave you in a state of yearning. We discussed the dark side of being a money master and the importance of developing your emotional intelligence in parallel with your financial intelligence. Most importantly, you have discovered how your identity is sabotaging you, what you can do to stop it from doing so, and how to establish an empowering identity. Next, you'll learn how your OODA loop affects every financial decision you make and what you can do to influence it so that you can make better financial choices. Here are some actions to take to implement what you've learned. First, identify which qualities you have in common with money masters. Then, identify which qualities you have in common with money yearners. Reflect on the dark emotions you may have already experienced along your financial journey. Then, practice the 7 steps to improving your emotional intelligence. After that, determine how your current identity is sabotaging you. I want you to create an empowering identity for yourself, write out your limiting beliefs, and then lastly, reverse the limiting beliefs that you've outlined. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comment section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken and your results. In this section, you will learn the significance of the OODA loop and how it affects your decision making. You will also discover the importance of its tempo and how your OODA loop can take you to the next level or hold you back. As you master your money, you also need to master your OODA loop. I'm sure you're asking, what the heck is an OODA loop? The OODA loop, also short for OODA, was created by John Boyd, one of the greatest military strategists in history, to capture a way of thinking about conflict. His philosophy has transformed the development and execution of military strategies around the world for several generations. It has also been adopted by businesses to improve their operations and increase their revenues. As you work toward your financial goals, the OODA can help you successfully deal with changing or challenging financial circumstances. When we encounter conflict or temptation, the way we think, decide, and behave often gets skewed. The OODA loop is a system that we can rely on to make effective financial decisions on a daily basis, especially during moments of spontaneity or great uncertainty. When our financial circumstances change, we continue viewing our environment as we feel it should be, failing to alter our perspective and accept what has changed. We apply familiar paradigms in an attempt to solve new financial problems because at some point in the past, this paradigm has worked before. Unfortunately, we only create more confusion, ambiguity, and uncertainty when we use pre-existing paradigms to understand a changing environment. Oddly enough, people will continue to try to make them work against a changing reality, even when it's obvious that their old way of thinking doesn't work. That is called insanity, doing the same thing over and over, yet expecting a different result. Consequently, people generate more frustration for themselves and perhaps others. People will quickly blame that the financial tactics and techniques they use don't work. However, the true culprit is their inability and unwillingness to understand their changing reality. A change in mindset is what is needed to address and navigate their new reality. By not respecting the OODA, your money will quickly master you. What does OODA even mean? OODA stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. Let's walk through each stage of the OODA loop to better understand how it can help you master your money rapidly. We naturally take in a lot of information. In this age, our senses are overloaded with information every day. To master your money, you must keep your mind open to new information as your financial environment changes around you. This will allow you to gain the necessary knowledge and understanding to develop new paradigms. There are several things you can do to observe your financial environment. For example, you can keep track of your budget, assets, liabilities, and cash flow. You can read books, blogs, and news articles on personal finance, investing, and retirement planning. You can also talk to others who have similar financial ambitions as you do. Keep in mind that the financial information you observe may be incomplete or imperfect. Furthermore, you may find that there is so much information out there that it's hard to separate the signal from the noise. It is important that you apply and trust your judgment. Reflect on your financial research and share it with others. Recognize any patterns that may emerge from your different sources of information. Without your personal judgment, your research means nothing. To improve your understanding and judgment of what you observe, you must continuously and quickly orient yourself in your environment. Orientation influences the way in which we interact with our finances, observe our financial situation, make decisions, and even behave financially. Successful money masters are able to orient themselves effectively and continuously, while money earners do so ineffectively and whenever they feel like it. By taking apart and analyzing old ways of thinking, we can then form new paradigms that align with your current reality by reassembling the pieces in a new way. For example, say the cost of your cell phone bill went up one month. You weren't expecting it, so you borrow some money from your family or friend to cover the additional cost. You continue your spending habits and cell phone usage as usual. The next monthly bill arrives, and you fall short once again. You ask your family and friends for another loan, promising to pay them back. It's not your fault that the cell phone provider hates you and charges you unnecessary fees. Your financial situation has changed, yet you have not reoriented yourself to the new reality. Given your observation of a higher cell phone bill, what does it mean to you, and what are you going to do about it? How could you better orient yourself in order to successfully pay your cell phone bill the following month? When we make a financial decision, we are making an educated guess about which strategy is the best to implement and will work. Every day we're faced with the decision to pay with cash, credit, or a loan, whether to buy it today or tomorrow, or to save now or later. We have to test the educated guess we made in order to determine the correctness of our financial decision. By taking action, you can confirm whether your financial decision was correct or not. If it is, it's a financial win. If it wasn't, then you start the OODA loop process again based on your new observation. Quick and repeated action allows you to experiment and collect new information, which in turn improves how you master your money and how rapidly it grows. You will discover which strategy yields the best results. Give your attention to the best strategy and take advantage of it. Once the strategy becomes ineffective, reorient yourself. Then develop new paradigms and strategies which you will quickly implement and then evaluate their effectiveness. Rinse and repeat for continuous success. For example, there are financial strategies that have income limits. As long as you are below the income limit, you are eligible to take advantage of it. However, once you exceed the income limit, the strategy becomes ineffective. What do you do then? Listen to the OODA. The OODA loop enables us to overcome the financial uncertainties that we face. However, the rate in which we cycle through the OODA and the number of loops we can complete is crucial. By going through successful and rapid iterations of the Uda, the faster you will be able to master your money. When focused on short-term financial goals, the frequency of the Uda increases. You're processing much more quickly and completing quicker Uda cycles. Simply, you're taking more action and acting immediately. Long-term goals, however, have a slower Uda tempo. The longer time frame gives you more time to observe, orient, decide, and act. There are several gaps that you face throughout your financial journey. There is the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you have a task at hand or a goal in mind, there is the gap between the starting line and the finish line. When facing a temptation, there's the gap between giving in and staying strong. By practicing and visualizing yourself closing the gap before it actually happens, you will be able to implement how you would want to act in real life. Otherwise, you'll end up making the wrong financial decision if you don't. Reflect on your everyday actions. For example, when you're in a store, how do you act when you observe certain colors? When you see items in arm's reach that you don't need? When you smell particular scents or hear certain music? What do you do when you see that there is a store closing sale, everything is on clearance, or perhaps items are 30 to 60% off the original price? Be mindful of your Uda tempo. Reflect on how quickly and effectively you move between the different phases and how often. Your financial mastery depends on it. In this section, you learn the significance of the Uda loop and how it affects your decision making. You also discover the importance of its tempo and how your Uda loop can take you to the next level or hold you back. Next, you'll learn of your money personality and how it also influences every aspect of your financial decision. Here's actions to take to implement what you've learned. First, reflect on your Uda loop. Then identify your poor financial habits and any poor financial decision you recently made. Create a plan to make better financial habits and decisions by improving upon how you observe, orient, decide, and act. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comment section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken and your results. We all have our own natural way in which we interact with money. From the way we feel about it, talk about it, think about it, and even manage it, we all do so in a unique manner. By understanding your money personality, you have a better understanding of why you make certain financial decisions in the way that you do, and why you respond to certain financial situations in the way that you do. Your money personality is at the core of who you are. It grows over time based on your life experiences and the environment in which you find yourself. However, it doesn't really change much. There are several common money personality types, but we each have a dominant personality and a secondary personality. They each come with their own sets of strengths and weaknesses that can help us master our money or be controlled by it. Our dominant personality drives our responses to money, while our secondary personality kicks in when we're not being our dominant self, perhaps because of a temporary situation in which we find ourselves. As with any personality assessment, there will always be gray areas. Focus more on how you would normally behave when dealing with money. Do your best to see which personality you relate to the most, and reflect on how your money personality influences your thoughts and behaviors toward money. Once you understand your money personality, you will be able to master your money even faster. Let's jump into the different personalities right now. The Rain Master. You love to spend money. When you get paid, you make it rain. To you, It's your money, so you're going to spend it on what you want whenever you want. When you're purchasing things, you're not focused on for whom you're buying it, what you're buying, when you're buying it, from where you're buying it, why you're making the purchase, and how much money you're even spending on the item. You just buy it. When you're being spontaneous or generous with your money, your budget doesn't even cross your mind. You spend for the present, not for the future. People love that you buy them gifts, and you're fun to be around. Also, if someone ever needs you to cover the lunch tab, you got it covered. By spending impulsively, however, you are known to break the bank. You find yourself coming up short or paying only the minimum when trying to meet your financial obligations, like your credit card bill. Sometimes you buy things in secret. And it's because you don't want to communicate to others what you bought and how much it may have cost to avoid upsetting them. Although you enjoy spending your money, you may find yourself disappointed or worried about the financial situations you create for yourself due to your shopping sprees. The savvy saver. You love to save money. Even if you found money on the street, you're saving it. With every dollar that you earn, you first save a percentage of it before spending any of your earnings. To you, that is the common sense thing to do. You may scan your receipts and double check that the coupons you clipped were properly applied. You enjoy shopping at Goodwill or your local thrift shop, and you only spend a large amount of money on something if you know the price is right. Saving money is a natural high for you. You spend money purposely and practice delayed gratification. You do your best to avoid debt and buy something only if you have the money for it. You consider yourself quite responsible when it comes to your finances. You may be referred to as a paranoid penny pincher or even cheap by your friends and family. Sometimes, you may crush other people's excitement or enthusiasm about doing an activity because it costs too much or it doesn't fit your budget. Consequently, you may miss out on experiences because you're too focused on your financial goals. The opportunist. You love taking chances with your money. You look at money as a way to create opportunities, which will allow your money to work for you. You get more excited about the possibility presented before you than the actual results of the opportunity. When you learn of a financial opportunity, you move quickly. You dive in and take the risks despite what others may think, feel, or even say about the financial situation at hand. This is because you don't fear failure. You make the decision and run with it. However, you do hold yourself accountable for your actions. Once you have completed a financial goal, you're looking for the next financial thrill or adventure. Be more mindful of the financial roller coaster you are riding. When the opportunity you invested in pays off, you're a genius and on top of the world. On the other hand, when you lose everything in an attempt to gain everything, you're hated for it. As an opportunist, sometimes you fall for details that are too good to be true, making you more susceptible to scams. When moving quickly, it is natural to overlook details and make mistakes. Younger opportunists have time on their hand to recover from the possibilities that may have fallen through. However, as you mature, you have to pay greater attention to detail and make decisions more through reasoning than just gut feeling alone. As they say, patience is a virtue. The protector. You use your money to protect and secure yourself and your loved ones. You like to financially plan for the future so that no matter what happens, everyone is safe and protected. You like to ensure that you can afford to have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food on the table, not only for today, but also for tomorrow and the next day. Financial security is what matters to you. You spend your time researching and preparing for everything. You have a financial plan in place that allows you to enjoy the present without interfering with your future goals. You also don't mind making compromises today if it means greater financial security and protection tomorrow. Even though you have a plan for everything, it's hard for you to deviate from them. You're not a fan for spontaneity or risk-taking, especially if the opportunity makes you financially nervous or anxious. It's challenging for you to make a financial decision quickly because you need to research everything. Sometimes, you just need to live a little. The honey badger. You simply don't care about money. You use money as a means to an end, so you're not emotionally involved with it like the other personalities. You're cognizant of what money is coming in and what money is going out, so you more than likely have someone else managing your finances and taxes. You're also nonchalant about how much you save or spend. Because money doesn't drive you or even bother you, it's easier for you to be satisfied with your life regardless if you're one paycheck away from being broke or more than financially comfortable. You don't let money get in the way of things, which enables you to focus more on relationships and experiencing life. Although you're carefree about your finances, you're not quite financially savvy, preventing you from solving financial problems on your own. When unexpected circumstances arise, you're not quite financially prepared and hope that someone will take care of the problem for you. Your lack of financial awareness, however, leaves you vulnerable to being taken advantage of by others who are more experienced in managing finances. As you went through the different money personalities, which ones resonated with you the most? Given your money personality, which of the remaining profiles would conflict the most with yours? As you come to understand more about your attitude, behavior, and assumptions toward money, it's also important to be mindful of your significant other's money personality. If you're not in a relationship currently, these profiles can give you insight into what you may look for or even avoid in a potential partner. By understanding each other's money personalities, it helps to reduce financial conflicts because you'll have a better idea of your partner's financial behavior and thoughts. Using these profiles, you'll be able to communicate more effectively about your financial habits and strengthen your financial relationship. Many marriages, unfortunately, are ruined because of financial issues. Take the time now to understand your and your partner's money personalities so that you can prevent fighting over money in the future. In this section, you learned of 5 money personalities. You discover which reflected your dominant and secondary money personality. You also now understand the importance of how money personalities can impact relationships and the importance of compatible personalities. Here's some actions to take to implement what you've learned. Identify your dominant and secondary money personalities. Then determine which personalities are compatible and incompatible with yours. Remember to post your key takeaways in the comment section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken thus far and your results. As you know, I value and appreciate your review. Please take a moment to leave an initial review for the course. Your feedback is powerful as it influences others to enroll in the class. And remember, your review doesn't have to be perfect. I'd like to thank you in advance for taking 30 seconds of your time to write one. We've covered a lot in this course, and I'm confident you have learned at least one new thing to help move you forward towards mastering your money. You have become aware of the broken system we live in and how to break free from it so that you can turn your financial dreams into a reality. You now know the steps to develop the right financial mindset, but most importantly, you know that you already have what it takes to master your money. Given everything you have learned, start planning out your 20-mile march and pick an accountability partner to ensure your success. Remember, you're not alone on your financial journey. We're all riding the financial roller coaster alongside you, and we're here to help you during your struggles and to applaud you during your victories. Keep in mind how your identity may be empowering you or how it's limiting you, in addition to how your OODA loop is affecting your financial decisions. Lastly, you now know your money personality and perhaps that of your significant other. Use your knowledge of your personalities to improve your communication of finances and the health of your financial relationship. Remember to post your key takeaways of the course in the comment section along with your questions. Also, feel free to share the actions you have taken and your results. Let's go over some frequently asked questions. Question 1. Do I really need an accountability partner to be successful? You may be successful on your own, but you'll become even more successful with an accountability partner, and you will achieve your goals much faster. Next question. If I change my identity or mindset, am I simply being a fake or an imposter? Not at all. You're adapting to the world around you and adapting to create the life that you want to live. By taking actions on a daily basis that reflect your new identity and mindset, you will become it. You're not faking it until you make it. You're doing it in order to become it. Next question. How many OODA loops are we expected to go through? We go through many OODA loops in a day, probably thousands of them, because we're constantly reacting to stimuli. We are continuously taking in information, analyzing it, making a decision based on that information, and then acting upon that decision. There's no set number of OODA loops that you must go through. Rather, it is what you do with the feedback you have received from the action you have taken, how you choose to respond in the future, and how you can improve your reaction time so that you can complete more OODA loops. Next question. Does my money personality change, and are some money personalities better than others? Your money personality does not change. Remember, you have a dominant personality and a secondary personality. We aren't ourselves all the time, and that's usually when your secondary personality kicks in. The descriptions of the personality types are universal and apply equally regardless of your background. Now, no personality is inherently better or worse than any other. As you learned, each have unique capacities and each have different limitations. Focus more on embracing your own money personality and leverage it to master your money. If you made it this far, I would like to thank you for completing the course. As you know, I value and appreciate your review. Please take a moment to leave an initial review for the course. Your feedback is powerful as it influences others to enroll in the class. Remember, your review doesn't have to be perfect. I'd like to thank you in advance for taking 30 seconds of your time to write one. And once again, thank you for taking the course.